end as well.
Okay.
If everyone's okay with that, by the way, if you don't want to be on film, just pop your camera off. And obviously we'll be recorded, so we'll be able to send it to you afterwards as well if you don't want to be on film.
Make me co-host, please, Elliot, and then I can do it.
There we go. You should be the host now, Rose.
Okay. Oh, that's so funny. I can't record separately. Co-host would have been better. You'll send me the recording.
I'll send it to you afterwards. All good, yeah.
All good.
Right, guys. Well, there's meant to be quite a few more, so we will give it a couple more minutes as everyone floods in. As we do that, just a little bit of housekeeping. Please do keep yourself on mute as we do the Q&A. Just there's nothing worse than a microphone going off in the background. You can keep your cameras on or off. It's totally up to you. But yeah, just the main thing is the mute. I'll be staying around afterwards if anyone has any questions for me about Flairbox. And yeah, that's about it in terms of housekeeping. Rose, I'll pass over to you in just a couple of minutes.
That's fine. I'm good.
Great.
Just lovely seeing everyone. Where was I?
Nice to see faces, isn't it?
And Ishtar. Now, do you see the Anastrati wanting to get in the room? Okay, so you're good, right? You see all the people?
I can't see the waiting room. I think that's because you're now the host, Rose.
So right? So let me give you back host.
Okay.
Because this makes no sense to me. Wait. Oh, Jesus. All right. Hang on. There we go.
Perfect. I'll just let them in.
There. Very good. And where was I? B and Ishtar. So is that Ishtar? That's so interesting. There was a movie once called Ishtar. Hi. Ciara.
All right, that is the last person I'm going to let in for the time being. So thank you so much for joining us, guys. Welcome to our free Q&A for the month with the lovely Rose Rosen joining us all the way from Florida in America. It's 1 p.m. over there, I think Rose said. I've done a little bit of housekeeping rules, but just to reiterate, please do keep yourself on mute throughout the conversation. And we will be recording this session. So if you do have to head off or if anyone has arrived late, we'll be able to send it around afterwards. All right, before I get into all the questions, we've been sent loads and loads of questions from everyone that's joined. Before we get into that, Rose, do you want to just do a little introduction to yourself and how you got into casting?
Sure. Hi. Thank you for having me, Elliot. And it's lovely to see all of your beautiful faces today. I'm Rose Rosen. I am a casting director and have been one for years. More than I can comment on. My claim to fame is Edward Scissorhands, which I did very early on in my career. I do a lot of commercials, a lot of films, a lot of, really anything that comes my way because I'm in Florida and I've learned how to cast remotely years and years ago, way before the pandemic. So that's made my business a lot easier. I'm a member of the CSA and I love actors. I think that's it about me. I have some great things I was telling Elliot about, and he'll pop some links in for you. But I do have a great YouTube. Over the pandemic, I couldn't sit still, so I made a great YouTube show with the lovely Kim Swanson out of Los Angeles, and you guys should all subscribe and watch that. It's amazing. There's a guest in every episode, and they talk about working with Spielberg or Meryl Streep. So it's interesting stuff, all different aspects of the business. I do a clubhouse room on Monday nights with a bunch of casting directors. You guys can listen to those. And, there's hit these links, hit my link in bio on my Instagram, give lots of tips there. So I do like to give back to you guys, and this is just one of the ways I'm doing that. So thanks for having me. I'm done.
That was a great intro. You're thinking of doing a podcast as well, right? Is that
yes.
First exclusive?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Shh, don't sell anymore. I need an editor. I mean, it's just everything, right? But
I've popped the links that Rose was just talking about into the chat there. So if you do want to have a look, do follow that link tree in the chat. You touched actually briefly on Edward Scissorhands there. Do you want to elaborate on that and how that was?
I mean, it was great, It was a lot of work. It was, like, I don't want to tell you, but it was like I was on a pager. There were no cell phones.
Yeah.
You can't realize
For anyone
how
who
old
doesn't
that
know what
movie.
that is,
No,
do you wanna-
I mean, you have to understand, and I really it's gonna age me, but like I'd have to pull over. I'd have to carry quarters in my car and pull over to a payphone. I know you people don't know anything about that, but it's just the truth. But what that speaks to is tenacity and committing to the work and the job. And that's what I want to really hit on today with you guys. This job doesn't come to you. Nobody's going to discover you. No, nothing's going to happen to you that's coming to you. You bring stuff to you. You work your butt off, and maybe one day you'll get a job acting, and then maybe from there you'll do a little better and get a bigger job. But if you're looking for fame and stardom, tap out of this conversation right now, honestly, because that's not what you should be looking for. A career, something you can work hard at. Anyway, you're gonna have to get a little used to that. I'm a little soapboxy sometimes, but we all
But
are.
it's a really good point. It's really good. That sort of tenacity and making the opportunities come to you rather than sitting around waiting for them to happen. I guess that's kind of what we're trying to do at Flairbox. But how would you suggest is the best way to go about that for actors? Trying to get that ball rolling and trying to get those first few things.
So, for sure, I mean, local theater is a great place to start. That's relatively free, and you could usually get a part. They're always looking for people, so that's great. And get some coaching. You can if you're focused on America, which I know a lot of you guys are, you can get an America coach now. You could do it on Zoom. The world is open. That's one thing the pandemic has certainly brought us. People realize we can do meetings like this and it can feel intimate and personal. And I strongly recommend you get good coaching, you do local theater, you work where you are. This is so important. You have to work and get good where you are before you run to Los Angeles. I mean, I was talking with an Irishman yesterday, and he's like, "Yeah, I went to LA early in my career. I thought they were rolling out the red carpet for me, and the agent and the manager would meet me at the airport." And I think most of that story had a lot of truth to it. He really felt like all he had to do was show up, and he learned that that wasn't true. Um, so yeah, so get good where you are, where you're sitting. There's so many opportunities in England. You don't have to come to America to be an actor, for sure, for sure.
In terms of coaches, and you mentioned US coaches, are there any that you'd recommend?
I mean, I do love Leslie Kahn. There's so many others. What I mostly recommend is, because she's not everybody's cup of tea. The reason I like her is because she's not like the Meisner and the Stanislaw and all those standard things, which are great. But I find them oppressive to the actor. And sometimes it just kind of eats your guts out. And I'm like, I don't know if you need to do that in order to get to the character. So Leslie has her own situation. So if she works for you, fine. But there's so many coaches. Get involved, use the Google, find out, go on Instagram, look at who's putting out these you know good stuff, and then sit in on a class, and most of them will give you like an intro class for free. So find out who works for you. You need to find the coach that brings the best in you out. We're not trying to change you. That's not good acting. Good acting is showing up and being who you are and melding that into the character.
Amazing. Can go on all day, but I will get to the questions because there's so many
I
different
know, right?
things. And I'm aware we've only got 45 minutes left already. So obviously a lot of the users on Flairbox are either sort of UK based or European based. So a lot of these questions may be with the idea of, trying to approach US casting directors and how to sort of make that break across the pond. So with that, is there anything you think that UK based actors should know about how it works? Does it work differently in the US or is it the same?
I mean, as far as I know, it's pretty much the same. I know I have friends in the UK in casting, and I mean, we talk the same language. I don't think there's, we use a little different software owned by the same people often. Um, yeah, I don't think it's a whole big difference. If we say pin, you might say hold. Hold over here feels like we owe you money. So we use the word pin, but maybe, I don't know. So I think there are subtle differences, but in general, I think it's very similar.
Okay, cool. And you touched upon sort of getting into theatre and trying to just get some work under your belt before making the leap across the pond. Is there anything that you could suggest to unrepresented actors who don't necessarily have agents and how they would make that approach?
Once again, I think it's research. I think you go in, over here, you look at the SAG after website. Over there, what's the union over there? You've got a union, right?
Yes,
Like,
equity over here.
but that's who's in charge of the agents too.
No, agents, it's PMA.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is make sure that the agents that you're looking up are bonded. Because this is business. Where your agent is collecting money for you and giving you money. So if you're picking up some guy off the side of the road that is not qualified to be an agent but says he's an agent and will take the money from the job and not give it to you, um, that's on you because you didn't do your research. So you have to take ownership of your career. So whether it be here or there, you must find an agent that represents you and will do good business for you and that you have a rapport with. I mean, are we getting a theme here? You're in charge of your business. And it is a business. It's not just an art form. You do your art, but in order to make your art, make money from your art, you better put a business hat on.
Great. And would you suggest getting a UK agent, or if you're based in Europe, a European agent or a UK agent before then trying to get a US based agent?
Well, of course, you
Yeah.
need to have work where you are. I mean, I don't know how this fallacy got out there that people think that they could be in Europe and come right to America and get work like we're going to discover you. I am sorry to tell you, we don't have the money or the resources, or we, I don't want to say we don't, there's enough here for your level talent. No offense to anybody in here, but there's a certain level. I mean, sure, I brought Richard Lawson over from Paris when I needed him, but he had a name. you know Yeah, I mean, and I never had to audition this guy. So if you're offer only, which I'm guessing most of you aren't, no offense, but but that's a different story. But if we're not going to discover you, it's just not. It's such a random thing. If you are like so unusual, there's something bizarre about you, it's possible maybe a reality show or maybe some interesting casting call comes out and you fit it. Could happen. Could happen. But it is the biggest shot in the dark. I mean, you might as well buy more lottery tickets, honestly. That's my opinion.
Ali Murphy's actually asked a really good question in the chat, so I'm going slightly off script here. But how are headshot styles different in the States? And is there a spotlight equivalent? In fact, I feel like, and sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the UK seems to follow a couple of years behind headshot styles. We tend to copy you guys a couple of years later.
It could be, or maybe you just think that. I mean, I think headshots are pretty pretty standard. We like a smiley and a not smiley, and don't do what I'm doing with patterns, just real simple, 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 a plain background. I think it's the same. I don't think there's a whole lot of difference. Isn't that what you guys have?
Yeah, definitely told to sort of have like a bit of a range, a smiley and a bit, maybe a bit more of a moody. But I think we at one point were quite there was black and white headshots over here. I don't know if it was the same in the States, but we definitely it's more color headshots, I think, now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Now we need to see as much of you in color as possible. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, black and white has gone out quite a long time ago here,
Yeah.
but
Cool.
it
All
did
right,
exist.
hopefully that answers your question, Ali. So in terms of if an actor comes across a show that they see a casting director is casting for, maybe on IMDb Pro, and they see that they believe they're right for the part, do you think it's worth emailing and reaching out to that casting director, or waiting for the agent to make the move himself?
Well, it's kind of a combination of the two. I would say ask your agent to approach that casting director on your behalf.
Yeah,
Then I'll pay attention to it. I'm not paying attention to the email you're sending me. I'm
yeah,
just telling you. I'm not saying nobody, but we you have no idea the volume of emails and inbox messages, unsolicited stuff that we get. And so understand that we're project based, right? So they come at me and they want this and this. That's all I'm focused on right now. So you are that. You're not this and this. I don't need that right now. So I'm going to forget about you. And that's just the truth.
that's really interesting. Has there ever been a sort of a cold outreach email that someone has sent you that's stood out at all, and you have responded, or is it just blanket no? If
I
unless it's
mean,
come through an
I
agent.
can't say because of the volume of cold outreach emails I get, there is an occasional one that that I happen to read. I don't read all of them. I never click on a link. Never. I mean, what do you think you're sending? Yeah. Seriously. And people
Yeah,
inbox me pictures and links. I'm like, are you insane? Just curious because what person is clicking on these links and why are you spending your time doing it? You
yeah.
know, comment on my wall. My social media people have told me to respond to everything on my wall. There, now you've got my attention. Yeah. Am I being mean, Ellie?
Not so, not at all. Just the hard truth. So now we'll move on to sort of building up your CV. I think we've kind of slightly touched on this already, but there's been a few really good questions in terms of how do you start booking those first few roles before you can, start climbing up and snowballing up to the bigger roles. What would you say is the biggest thing to do in your early stages of your career?
Well, I think the answer is theater. Is
Yeah,
always theater. The answer is always theater and training. That's how you start. That is available to you. You can't always have an agent, you can't always have a manager, you can't always have a job, but you can nearly always have theater and you can always get training. And no matter where you are in your career, you need training. Meryl Streep still gets trained, I'm sure. It just goes on and on. It's part of, it sharpens your tool.
yeah. Do the work.
Yeah,
Do
do
the
the
work.
work. I know, I feel like a broken record. I'm sorry.
Another good one was, so how important is an actor's IMDb to you? Do you look at their IMDb when you're,
Yeah, I mean,
IMDb
sure.
ranking? Is
Yeah.
that to play at all?
Yeah. The rank is meaningless.
Yeah,
The rank, I don't ever, nobody ever looks at that. It means nothing to us.
because the IMDb rank is just based on clicks, isn't it? So anyone can.
Yeah, but people think, I mean, they call it a star meter. I mean, I
Yeah.
mean, that's clickbait, if you will. So no, don't think anything about that their ranking that means nothing to us. We I use it to find talent all the time. That is the number one thing casting directors use IMDb for, is to I keep lists in there, of people that interest me and I want to use them in a project leader. These are bigger stars though. But yeah, so it's just helpful to us and it's all right there, but your contact information is important. Your agent's contact information.
Cool. Sorry, this is a lead on from Ali's question, and it was to do with, is there a US equivalent of Spotlight? So is it IMDb Pro that you tend to use for your process?
Casting networks
Casting it.
and
Yeah,
breakdown services,
cool.
which is Actors Access, but Spotlight is owned by Casting Network. So that's,
Yeah.
and uh, there's Flairbox. I put out castings on Flairbox.
Okay.
There's
I didn't
like
want to put the words into your mouth, Rose, but
I'm telling you, I love it. But yeah, it really all depends on, what the job is as to what software I use. There's casting workbooks. I mean, there's so many different casting softwares. What I do recommend is get a free profile on every single one of them. What's the worst that'll happen? Your picture will be out there, your resume will be out there, and you'll never get a job. But you haven't spent any money, right? Now, if they're charging you for the free profile, that's bad. If they don't have that intro, one or two pictures in your resume, then don't do that. But there's casting, there's so many: Casting Frontier, Casting Workbook, Actors Access is Breakdown, Casting Network, Spotlight. I mean, there's more in the UK. Flairbox, you're here already, which is great. So many, and there's more. There's like one that's Casting Depot, and they have it's like Twitter. I mean, there's so many, and there's Cast Voices if you do voiceovers, and more coming in every single day. And you know what I say to you? Be on all of them and get used to the fact that this industry is not going to be run by two companies anymore. Right? This Flairbox is key to the fact that we are changing, and kudos to you guys for being here, because it's different and you can have a community and you can get work. I mean, how bad is that?
I should be paying you, Rose. I should be paying you commission. Yeah, that is what we're trying to achieve. Is we're not just another casting website. We're trying to promote that sort of sense of community and collaboration. Exactly that.
It's quite different. It took me some time to understand how you guys do it, because you're different. And bravo, that's the whole thing. We audition. And I don't even, I don't even mean to mention all of the competition, but in my mind, maybe it's not all competition for you guys. Maybe we're just clearing the playing field and we're giving actors, agents, managers, casting directors some choices to do their work with. So, once again, and listen to me clearly, find all of the casting software and get on it. And if they're charging you, get off. The only one you want to pay for, aside from community building like this, is one that's starting to bring you business. And it makes business sense then to pay monthly. Don't think, oh, this is some kind of tax I have to pay to be an actor. That's not how you should look at it. Look at it as, if it's business building for you, then you can invest in it.
So you're right. Cool. We've had a few questions on, and I don't know if you'll be able to answer these, but on sort of work permits and US visas. Very
Tough for me. I am not an attorney. I saw those questions, and honestly, I'm going to keep answering. I don't know. Talk to an attorney, so you might want to skip those. And I think I've said it so many times that please get good where you are before you start looking to come here. I mean, this is the number one question: inappropriate inbox messages. How do I become a star in America? I mean, just sit in my seat for 1 minute and think. why am I listening? Why do I have this question? No shade on you guys, but it's just difficult. It's like there is no route for that, right? Get good where you are, be a star where you are, be an actor where you are, be a good actor. And if you feel like you've hit the guest star co-star range, you're really working there in the UK, then come to America. Guess what? You might start a lot lower than guest star co-star. I talked to actors in Nigeria. These guys, huge talent in Nigeria. Million, I mean, big talent there. They come to America, they could barely, they don't come because they can't get the kind of work, right? We have to go through preparation and thought in order to advance your career. It's not just, oh, let me go do that. That's it doesn't tend to reap the rewards you'd like it to.
I guess because it's quite
So me.
no, it's quite an as you say, an attorney based question. You're not an attorney, so
It
it's
really
quite a
is.
tricky one to answer. But if I could bundle them all into one sort of general theme, is do you see US productions paying for international actors to have a working visa? So I guess the question is, should you get a working visa first and then be able to apply for US based jobs, or can you do it the other way around? Is it possible to do it the other way around?
If I haven't talked you out of coming to the US before you've advanced your career where you are, which I still would rather talk you out of coming to the US. If I haven't done that, then for sure, I'm sure you need get your visa first. Nobody's paying for stuff for you. You're just not big enough. I'm sorry. You have to be a name for people to start paying for you to come over, or there has to be something incredibly different about you. You're all special, but we have to have this particular need, buy some lottery tickets. You're going to win them $100 million before your acting ticket comes up like that. I promise you. I'm sorry.
All right, cool. Let's move on to something that's a little bit more universal,
I'm
rather.
a dream crusher.
Yes. So show reels. Let's talk about show reels for a second. What is it that sort of stands out for you in a show reel, if anything? Or is it just completely dependent on the actor?
It's dependent once again on the project. So I'm so focused on what I'm doing. So I get my project in and I have a nice discussion with the director. So I understand what she or he needs. And that's right here, right? So I'm looking at the reels, and if they're not hitting what I need, pass on. And that's, the first 10 seconds. What I would say is split your show reel up into comedy, drama, other things. Split it up into small bites because we have no attention span. We have a lot of, hundreds, if not thousands, of tapes to go through. So definitely help us out. Help us out. Cut them into smaller pieces. So we know if I'm looking for comedy, I want to see that right there. I don't want it all mixed in with your drama. Yeah.
That's really interesting. And that's sorry to keep plugging Flairbox, but on Flairbox you can attach a genre to your video. So make sure to do that because then casting directors can search by genre. So
I hope you do.
there we go. Did an ideal length for a show reel? Do you want to keep it short or?
So short.
Yeah.
I want little bites. I want like 30-second to a minute bites of each one and front load it with your best work because we might not get past 10, 20 seconds.
Great. I think again this is quite a US based question, but it's not really one for over here. How does one find a manager?
Oh, that's a great question, actually. Huh? Tricked you. I think it's the same way as you find an agent. Use your friends, use Google. I recommend you get an agent before you get a manager. I know a lot of people are doing the opposite, but that manager is going to take a good chunk of your check, and so is the agent. And I mean, I don't know. But I think finding a good one is going and finding out who regulates managers, if anybody, over there, over here, and make sure you get a professional, manager that will also get the checks to you. These things are important. And somebody who's working for you and with you. If you feel that and you want to give up a good deal of your check, then it's completely worth it. But don't forget that acting is a business. Don't forget it.
Cool. Let's go back to the audition process, because obviously that's
Okay.
the most important part for actors. Do you want to talk us through your process? I know you touched on it slightly a second ago. So you sit down with the director and try to get a sense of their vision, but does it depend on the project, how much you work with the director, or is it, to sometimes you get free reign? How does it work?
Oh, like you never get free reign with the director. I have this weirdo rule, and why would I have this rule? Because you don't always get to talk to the director. I won't even sign up for a project if the director won't spend 10 minutes with me. But often they don't. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not doing it because I feel that need. Usually we're working with the producer and, hand in hand with the producer, and the director's very busy and they're in their own world, and but I need those minutes with them to really sit myself into the project. So, yeah. So I do that, and then I make my breakdowns, and I think about it, and I think it's very important the way we word our breakdowns. And then I'm kind of old school. I put my breakdowns out and then I make some calls. You because I have relationships all over, mostly the country. I really don't do a whole lot of international casting. Occasionally reach out there. But, so I call these guys that I've known for a long time and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. I want to talk it through with you. And for me, that works. Not a lot of people are spending that kind of time or doing that kind of work, but I find it useful.
Cool. And then in terms of the actual audition process itself, so self-tapes, in terms of self-tapes, do you have any sort of tips on lighting, background?
I mean, I want to see you. I want to hear you. I don't want to be distracted by your background. Those are the main things. The main thing is your read should be on point. It should be, you know, read those directions at least 3 times before you even start. Top to bottom, read everything, do what's asked. Because you're going to look at that and say, well, why does she want my hands? Is I am here to tell you that it's not a question you need to ask. You just need to do it. Because if I'm asking to see your hands, there's a reason for it. I've been asked to, we're going to go close in on the talent's hands. We need to see them. End of discussion. It's not worth my time, your time. Why am I answering that question? Right? So just go over the directions at least 3 times and make sure you understand. If you have a question, ask your rep and they'll probably answer it. If not, they'll ask me a question that's completely appropriate, and then do it, and do it to the best of your ability. But yeah, it's distracting if I can't see you or hear you. That's, then I can't, and if you've got dogs jumping through, and but then again, I've hired people who've done it in the bathroom at the airport. So yeah, the work speaks for itself. If it's great work, it's great work.
It's a really good point, actually, isn't it? Because, most of the time when you get a self-tape through, you don't get the whole script to read. So you can't sort of research the character in depth and you can't get to know them inside out. So
Right.
read the breakdown as closely as possible, right? Because there'll be clues and there'll be hints in there on what they're looking for and how to play it.
Precisely.
Cool. Nice. This is a slightly more specific one, but someone has asked, do you think you can build a real career as a TV film actor when you've passed the age of 32? As if 32 is very old, which it's not. But yeah, I guess so. Breaking into acting at a later stage, how do you advise going about that?
I have hired actors literally from 2 days old through 99, 100. I mean, And it is literally the only career you could take from cradle to grave. And you could start at any point and you could stop at any point. So, you could decide it's not for you. There's no shame in that, by the way. I hear actors kind of shaming each other if they get out of the business. I'm like, no, 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 no. Do what you want. Do what feeds your soul. Um, but yeah, any age, and 32 is not old. And also, I mean, more and more I am casting all body types, all ethnicities, all sexes, all everything that I haven't mentioned. I am casting every bit of it. I just have a huge thing with celebrity cruises where they're turning the cruise industry upside down, and I cast everything from the differently able to all the things I just mentioned. And I mean, for the cruise industry, I don't know if you've ever seen a cruise brochure maybe 3 years ago, but it's all pretty white people. So they're changing, and good for them.
This is a really good question, actually, and it's definitely one I've got as well. But if there is movement in a scene, so for instance, there might be a fight. Make sure all of you. Might be doing a
Oh,
microwave meal by the sound.
yeah. Mute. There we go.
There we go. If there's movement in a self-tape scene, so maybe there's a fight in the scene or a bit of dance choreography or something, would you suggest trying to replicate that in the self-tape, or ignoring those kind of stage directions where there's a lot of movement and it's quite hard to replicate in a living room, say?
Yeah, don't.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's an easy one.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you have to work within your space. We understand that. We're looking for the we're we're looking for your read and your uh that's it. Just your acting. So and if we get further in and we need you to do some kind of a dance or some kind of a fight scene, you'll know it.
Cool.
Even though the choreography is there, read the casting breakdown and see if it says you need to kick. If you need to kick in the scene, then find a space that you can do that. Maybe do it outside, whatever. Once again, go back to your directions.
Nice. All right, I think we've covered a nice broad range there. So let's start to watch some of the scenes that were sent in.
Yes.
So yeah, we did a monologues for Ukraine competition recently. So with cast director Nancy Bishop, and
I love Nancy. I wanted to do this. I've been way too busy, but not too busy to give back. But at least I gave some money to the cause. But what a great thing she did there.
yeah, it was amazing. We actually, in the end, I don't know if everyone knows, but we managed to raise about $20,000. So really great cause, but luckily it meant that we've got lots of great material to be able to watch, and that people have submitted for this Q&A. So I'm going to share screen and reveal. Meredith went through every single submission, bless her.
Oh my gosh.
And the winners, here we go. So for everyone that entered, we have Meredith chose 2 winners. One is Magnus and one is Laura Gard. So congratulations, little round of applause for you guys. We're going to watch your scenes, if that's okay, and then we'll get a little bit of feedback from Rose. So we'll start with Magnus. Can everyone see my screen, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah, cool, great.
And I'm just giving feedback, is that right?
Yeah, as honest as you want to be. Here we go, this is Magnus's.
Obviously she wasn't there, but I was there with her boyfriend Tom, and so she asked me how come I was alive and he wasn't, since we'd both been hiding the same place with everyone else. I thought I could fool her and say that we were there with the rest of the group barricading the door. But she looked at me as though she could see right through me, and she knew. She knew I was lying. And I was. Because we weren't behind the door when the shooting began. I convinced Tom that we should run, and so we did until suddenly he wasn't anymore. And all I could do, I just ran. I just ran.
It was a good choice, a really good choice.
Yeah.
I mean, the moment, you know, you feel him in that moment, it's undeniable. I mean, that's the thing. My job's not that hard, you know, because, you know, looking at tapes, it's, you know, when the right person, as long as you know what you're looking for, the actor, it bubbles up so quickly, and the wrong people also bubble up very quickly. So, but yeah, he was wonderful. And you know, even I like the fact that they dollied in tight for that close up at the end. It was so subtle, but it was so lovely.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
really, really nice. Very sincere. It almost felt like, you know, maybe Magnus had lived through a similar experience to that. Magnus, are you on the call? Actually, I wonder if you are, would you like to mute yourself if you have a question? I don't know if Magnus.
Magnus is not here.
Come on, Magnus. Oh, he didn't get to claim his glory.
Oh, he's there.
Is he?
Yeah, Magnus, do you want to unmute yourself?
Oh, there you are.
He's
I think he might be frozen. Oh, there we go.
Let me go into gallery view. Magnus, can you hear us?
You have
Yeah.
to unmute.
Okay,
Oh, he can't unmute. He can't unmute.
Oh,
Ask
no.
him to unmute. See if you can do that.
I'm clicking ask to unmute, but maybe, never mind. We'll be able to send him the recording and hopefully be able to see afterwards.
Nice to see you. Did a great job, Magnus. Thank you for your wonderful performance. Beautiful.
Really good. Yeah, really.
And
really
if you have a question or a comment, you can put it in the chat. I'd be happy to answer it.
There we go. I'm gonna pin you back, Rose.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So scene number 2. Here we go. Let me share my screen again. Scene number 2 was Laura, and I think Laura is on the call. So Laura, once we've had a little watch of your scene, I'll ask you to unmute, but here we go.
I remember childhood as this, I don't know, as this magical time. I do. I remember when my mother first told me about death. My grandmother had just died, and my whole family had just visited them back in Germany. I was about 3.5 years old. Anyways, I was in the backyard playing, and my sister had just taught me how to take the garden hose and do it in such a way it sprayed into the sun and it would make a rainbow, right? So I was doing that, and in the mist, I could see my grandmother. And she was just standing there, smiling at me. And I held it there for a long time. And then finally I let go of the nozzle, you know? And I dropped the hose and I ran back inside and I told my parents. And they sat me down and gave me this big rap on how when people die, you never see them again and stuff. But I knew what I'd seen. I was just glad I saw it. I've never seen anything like that since, but it kind of let me know how ambiguous everything was, you know? Even death.
Wow.
Amazing.
Wow, that was amazing.
So great. I mean, I love this scene. I loved her. Interestingly enough, they dollied into for the close up at the end there too.
No, I think Meredith likes a dolly in.
Right, I'm sure. but her read was beautiful, and it was just enough emotion, and her pauses were just right on. The only thing I will say is I was liking the music, and then I didn't. So I don't know. I mean, we hopefully never hear music in auditions. Don't edit your auditions to where you have wipes and swipes and your name all over the place. We don't want any of that. I'm just telling you, just as a little aside. But the music can help or hinder. So yeah, I was enjoying the read just as it was. Just say.
And there was a couple of nice moments as well, Laura, where you kind of almost tripped over your words, which made it feel very natural. Yeah, it was lovely. Laura, you're on the call, I believe. So if you want to unmute, if you do, great. Ask a question. If you don't want to unmute, that's
I'm here. Can you hear me?
We
Hi,
can.
Laura. Great job. Terrific.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, of course.
Thank you. Yeah, I thank you so much what you said about the music. Now rewatching it, I feel the same. It's like it's getting at the end, it's getting a little cheesy.
Right? Right? You want to put it in there to help. Like, I feel like part of you wants to use the music to hide, and that you didn't need to, right?
Yeah.
Your audition could stand by itself, so you should know that.
Yeah, and I would never do that on a self-tape audition. I produced that more as like a show reel scene in English, because I have a lot of professional work in Germany. I'm German, but I don't have any like recent work in English. So that's why I just recorded that with an actor friend of mine who's experimenting with camera and he wanted to try his dolly thing.
Sure, pull the music out and see how you like it. You know, that's easy enough to just yank the music out of there and see if it's good. Oh, she got
Thank
frozen.
you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
Where are you calling from, Laura? Oh.
I'm in Berlin, Germany. Right now.
There we go.
Yeah.
Lovely. International.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm also, just whilst we're there, I'm going to share screen one more time and just show you the runners up that Meredith chose. So big round of applause for Cecilia, Rita, Esther, Nicolo, and Ian Donnelly as well. I am going to put those in an email, the links to the winners and also the runners up, so you guys can watch them after this. I'll send that through either this evening or tomorrow morning. But there we go. Those were the winners and the runners up. Does anyone have any more questions for Rose before we go? If you do, feel free to give us a hand emoji or pop it in the chat.
Happy to answer anything.
Oh yeah, I do have a question actually. Can you hear me again? Yeah, cool. What we do sometimes in Germany is like when for a self-tape we don't have much instruction and we don't know much about the character because everything is really secret and everything. Sometimes I try like totally different versions or ideas of the character. Are you happy to see like 2 different versions, or is it just like one shot?
I love that. Yeah, I'm crazy for a couple different versions, as long as they're different. Don't send me 2 of the same thing. That seems crazy, right? But I love that. And even if I don't ask for 2, I like to accept 2. Now, some casting directors might, they only want 2 if they ask for 2. So I can't speak for everyone, but I do love 2 different, very different reads.
Hi.
Yeah.
I have a question.
There we go. We'll go Margot, and then I see Magnus as well. It's just come off mute. So Magnus, we'll go to you next as well after Margot.
I had asked a question, but I'm not sure if you answered it because I arrived at 7:10. What's a good casting director agent relationship?
That's a great question. I
Do
don't think
you?
you did
Because I
answer.
asked a question, but did you answer it before?
No, I think we can answer it now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, no, of course. So yeah, I think a good agent talent relationship or agent
No, casting director actor.
Oh, casting director actor.
Yeah, what's a good relation?
Yeah,
How would you describe a good relationship between a casting director and an actor?
So like actors aren't my friends, And not that, I mean, I might have 3 actor friends that organically became friends.
Sure.
And this is certainly just me. I, there basically there's a business relationship between us. So if you do what I ask on that breakdown and you do a good performance, now you're my business friend.
Yeah.
and,
But how
and
can we make your job easier?
follow all the directions. Read them 3 times at least before you start, and really just do the best work possible. All I want is for you guys to get the job. I want every single person I see to be the best. I want to show my client 50 choices, not 3. I want to say, look, you decide. I can't. I want to show you, I want everybody that's in my casting to show that look at all these great actors. But the sad truth is that doesn't usually happen. So if there are more talent that actually get out there and do the work, more it will happen more often.
And what's a good agent actor relationship? Then?
Well, once again, that's businessy. And I
Business
think
again.
you need to be in touch with your agent. You need to have an agent that you're not scared of. Like I think a lot of actors like,
True.
they
I
took
used to be.
right? They took me, and it's like, and then they, like you never hear from 'em again. You're just excited they're your agent. And it's like, well, what have they done for you? Nothing. Maybe you're better to go to a smaller agent that will actually you have a relationship with. So you have to have that relationship where, like we said, you're not scared to talk to them. They're not scared to talk to you. You check in with them. How many submissions have you done for me? What business are you conducting on my behalf? And if they're not doing anything, reevaluate. You got,
We forget it's a business.
Yes.
We just keep waiting and waiting, and then nothing happens, and we're just like, oh, I'm just gonna stay with the same agent. We'll see what happens. Well, no,
That's
just get
ridiculous.
out and get a new agent.
Yes, precisely.
Thank you.
Of course, you're welcome. Good luck.
Cheers. Thank you.
I'm just going to give the floor to Magnus, just because his chosen, and I think you didn't get the chance earlier. So Magnus, go ahead.
Yeah, no, my screen froze. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Yeah. No, my screen froze, so that's why I wasn't able to answer. But now it's working. No, but you asked me if I've experienced it before, but I haven't actually. But this monologue was based on. I did a short film. Well, it was sort of like this workshop I did with some directors, and it was based on the terrorist attacks in Oslo 10 years ago, about the 22nd of July, when a lot of people were killed in Norway. And so it was sort of, I wrote this monologue based on what we did for the test for the sort of 2 short scenes. It's almost like a short film, but we so I based it on that, and then so I haven't experienced it. But yeah.
No, but you wrote it, which also that's great for monologues, because you can't be doing, it's all kind of copyright laws. So so it's great that you wrote it, and so you're attached to it because you did write it, and it was beautiful work.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Right.
Got a couple of hands up. Rose, have you got to go at 7?
No, I'm fine, really.
Let's take these 2 questions, if that's okay, from Ali and Cecile, and then we'll call it a day there. So I'm not too sure who was first, but there we go. Cecilia, do you want to unmute yourself?
Sure, thank you. Let me lower my hand. So I had a question about pilot season, and if that's still a thing, or is it still like, you can cast guest stars and co-stars during those like January to May months, or how has it changed?
So it seems to have changed to be kind of year round a little bit more. It's a little longer. It's a little different, and I don't know where we're going to end up after COVID. So stay
Mhm.
tuned. I don't think,
Yeah.
I don't
Do you
know.
feel like it's like a lot of productions are being made now and things have stabilized after COVID?
Yeah, I hope. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we are very busy here in the States. We are working, and we have worked through COVID. I mean, think of all the stuff you're watching on TV. A lot of it was made during COVID, and there's some amazing stuff right now out. So, yeah, we found a way to work fairly early on with all the testing and all the masking and, keeping people fairly safe. And that being said, I know plenty of people who got COVID on set, but, maybe not on a union set. We'll say it that way. But people get COVID everywhere. That's just how it
Yeah.
is. And, whatever. But, we've early on in COVID, I wouldn't even work on productions unless they were, extraordinarily safe. And, I just, I lost a lot of work, but I'm not into killing people. It just wasn't on my business plan. So,
Yeah. Do you feel though that you've done more self-tapes lately then? You know?
oh, I mean, once again, being in Florida, I've cast full films. I've done a lot on self tape and offer only. I mean, I cast the front, the lead actors in the shows. So a lot of that is a lot of paperwork. It's not always, it's not a whole lot of auditions sometimes. So, um, yeah, but self tape is here to stay. I promise you. The world is getting smaller, and here we are.
Great.
But be good. Make sure you have good light kits and good sound.
Yep.
Where
Cool.
are you, Cecilia?
Sorry, go on.
I'm in Norway, but I'm actually working on my visa right now for the
Oh,
US. So you didn't frighten me. I'm finalizing it, but yeah, that's why I'm asking about the
that's
pilot
great.
season because I wanted to go in July, but it's gonna take like half a year.
Yeah. So if you get
Yeah.
there and you're a waitress and you're taking classes,
Yeah,
there's that business model that is no problem. You just don't go there expecting, right?
I know.
Go there willing to work and, get on set. I I mean, I strongly recommend being background. I know not everybody thinks that's the greatest thing to do, but you know, just I think getting out on set, meeting people is helpful.
Yeah, good tip. Thanks.
There we go, Cecilia. You could have answered some of our visa questions. You've been.
Right, right. She's the one, not me.
There we go. All right, final question then from Ali. Go ahead, Ali.
Hi, Rose. I've actually just got my visa, so I'm moving to the States in September, but Seattle, not LA. My question is, do you think I need to? I've been working on my American accent, but do you think I should just focus on me being a niche or a niche out there, or should I maybe would I get more work if I was had a
For
Native American?
sure. I mean, think about it. You're just, you're adding a skill. So yeah, get a dialect coach. You could do that online.
Mm.
Um, you're going to be in Seattle, not Los Angeles. So obviously you're doing more than acting. Yeah,
Oh, it's
and
my husband. I've just got to go with him.
right, right. So
Wow.
yeah, so it's close to LA, kind of. But yeah, you could do voiceover work. I mean, I strongly recommend you get a voice coach and learn learn the American dialect or any, I think it's all important. The more you know, the more work you can get.
But do you think is there work out there for British people still, or not just villains?
Sure. I mean, yeah, and like I said, I think thinking about doing some voiceover work might be a great solution.
I'm actually a full-time voiceover over here, so I was planning just to take my whole client list over there. So that should
There
work,
you
hopefully.
go. But then maybe you could add to it in America. You never know,
Mm.
right? And I
Oh,
think there's
absolutely.
some jobs that are just in Seattle for acting, and that would be a nice place to be,
Mm.
right? just do, hit the local theater. But yeah, I am not against you getting a dialect coach to get the American dialect. I mean, you, think of all of the actors from all over Europe that are bankable stars, and they all, I think, without fail, have an American dialect for sure, right? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure you're gonna tell me I'm wrong somewhere, but most.
No, I agree. Thank you so much. Thanks for everything today. It's been
Good
great.
luck to you.
Thank
Sure.
you.
There we go. Thank you so much. Guys, let's give a round of applause to Rosen. Thank you so much for joining us. Or one of these, actually. I like these. The new clapping. So yes, I am going to stick around for 5 minutes. If anyone has any Flairbox related questions, I can answer those. I'm also going to create a group on Flairbox as well and put you all in it, and pop some of the winning scenes and the runners-up scenes as well, so you can watch them, ask each other where you got the scripts from, or answer some of the questions that you might have heard on today's call. But yeah, if you enjoyed our free Q&A today, please do shout. I hate doing these plugs, but I have to, sorry. If you enjoyed our free Q&A today, please do shout about us on Instagram, Twitter, and on social media. And do look into booking one of our workshops as well, run by Meredith, on flairbox.co/workshops.
Yes.
I did the
And
plug.
follow me on social, and call me out. Do all the things for me too.
I've
And
got
hit my
all of
YouTube.
Rose's links in the chat. To the right, if
Yeah.
you scroll to the top of the chat, copy and paste those now before you lose them.
There's all the things. The clubhouse room on Monday nights. It's middle of the night for you guys, but you can listen. There are replays in there. So and podcasts coming because Elliot's going to be editing it for me. But yeah, definitely follow on the Insta and all the things, because I honestly, it's for you, So get out there and learn. Follow all kinds of casting directors on all the socials, and don't be annoying. That's my final words. Don't be annoying. Thanks for having me, Elliot. This was a delight. You guys are all shining, sparkling faces. Much luck to each and every one of you, and stay the course. Stay the course. It will happen. Work hard. Work hard. And thank you. And I'm going to peace out then, right?
Thank you so much, Rose. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. And I'll stay on if anyone has any questions.
I don't know how to leave the room, of course. It's all good. Bye.